Hey everyone, we got Lara Croft Neo Vision yesterday, and today we're gonna take a look at her numbers. I teased that she's actually super good yesterday in my video. It's so confusing saying yesterday, by the way, because I'm recording this Thursday, so yesterday. Because today, when you're watching this, I will be out. I'm having plans today, so fair warning, all these numbers that you're about to see later in the damage calculation, they are not final, but I'm 99% sure that they are accurate. I tested a lot of things today with gearing and my math behind approximating to EX plus 3, because I do have EX plus 3 on Tuesday. But I'm 99% sure that all these numbers are correct. And then 1% is where I might be wrong, but if I'm wrong, it's really just tiny minuscule percentages where I might be wrong. So I'd like to say take it with a grain of salt, but it should be fairly accurate. Like I said, 99%, this should be absolutely accurate what you're going to see. I just want to leave this leeway out that if someone corrects me, yeah, you guys are probably right. The builder isn't up to date and I have to do this by hand pretty much, so yeah. Anyway, enough rambling. I got Lara super lucky yesterday. I'm still very happy about it and can't wait to EX plus 3 on Tuesday to show her off on some trials. I'm probably gonna do, I don't know, Bahamut, Amon, yeah, Amon, that is a cool one. I could do Amon trial of Lara Croft on Tuesday and probably Ashura, just the 3 usual suspects and punching bags. So that's the general outline. But without further ado, let's really start this unit review. First of all, the general overview, right? Base form, she's just a chainer. You're probably never gonna use the base form because it doesn't really do much. And in her Brave Shift, she is either a morale chainer for Clash of Worlds or a limit burst finisher for, well, pretty much everything else. Now you can use her as a regular chainer in Dark Visions or outside Dark Visions. That is probably also going to work because her mods are fairly high, even outside Clash. But I'd suggest that you use her limit burst. Alright, one thing I do like to mention is that in her base form she's true dual wielding, and in her Brave Shift she is actually a true double hand unit. That is also kind of, well, projected is the wrong word, indicated by her sprite, but yeah. Anyway, the abilities and passives. Now, Lara Croft is following the most recent trend where units are actually somewhat like Pokemon, like having 3 abilities plus 1 nuke, basically, and yeah. So the base form, really disappointing, honestly. Keen Instincts, Hot Shot, Explosive Shot, none of them are really cool and all. I mean, one could say that Explosive Shot is decent for its fire amp, it's 50%, that is really good, even by today's standard, it's really good, but all things considered, Sky has an on-demand 50% wind amp, Lara has it on a cooldown. Yeah, I think Sky still has the upper hand here in that regard. But it's good because in comparison to Sky, Sky does not have an imbue on her own. Lara does. So give and take, I guess. The passives, they are great, but I'd like to point out the static attack on EX plus 3. She has full LB gauge at EX plus 2, which is super good, especially for her Brave Shift, and we're gonna see why in just a second. But I do want to put this out right now that if you're going to pull for Lara and you want her to use in Clash of Worlds or Dark Visions, you do want her at EX plus 3 because these 500 static attack, they make a huge difference in DPS and burst damage especially. Other than that, 6x chain cap in the base form, which is rather cool. Yeah. Let's move on to the base LB, which is rather disappointing. I mean, yeah, the 130 fire decrease or imperil is great, especially because it's all enemies. But 250 attack increase, that's kind of meh. And the modifier of the LB itself is very, very disappointing, even for a morale-based skill. It's 220x at 200 morale. That just doesn't cut it. There should have been a lot more. I feel like there's a 0 missing somewhere. But yeah, that's not gonna cut it. Alright, the Brave Shift, that's where it's all about. She only has 3 abilities, all 3 of them are stacked though, as you can see. Queen of the Jungle is her 200% human beast killer, which is cool. In Dark Visions, if we were still using Mastermind Xon, this would be great, especially because the other one, Shots in the Air, is a 200% Avian and Machina killer, which I also like very much. But yeah, nobody uses Xon anymore because we do have those 150 and 160 killer buffers these days, so it's a moot point, but it's still something to take note of. Other than that, these skills, Queen of the Jungle, Shots in the Air, and also Volatile Ammunition, they are her main morale-based nuke abilities. And as you can see, 3500x modifier. Now, one thing to behold is, if I may switch back, because there was something I do wanted to mention. No, there is not. I thought she had a 10x increase for her abilities, which I forgot to mention, but it doesn't seem to be the case, so excuse me for that. Anyway, Volatile Ammunition is one of the best skills in her kit. I would even argue it's the best one, because that is her 60% fire amplification. And I feel like this is absolutely crazy. We've had 50% with Sky, Bulwark, for example. Bulwark has, I believe, 60% amp on his morale skill, which you can only use in Clash of Worlds. But Volatile Ammunition, that works everywhere. That works in Trials, that works in Dark Visions, that works in Clash of Worlds. That is crazy. So whenever you have a team dedicated to fire, you should bring Lara, because she is crazy strong. And if you pair her up with Louise, who brings the 35% gun in peril and another 25% fire physical field on top and magical, this is getting crazy levels of strong. So keep that in mind, it's absolutely bonkers, and also 90% defense break. So Venera, well, she had a good run. She didn't actually ever really made the cut for most of the things. But now with Lara, we finally have a unit that not only deals superb damage, but also does the 90% defense break. It is amazing. Now Locke is also another good candidate, but you need, I believe, 3 or 4 crowns to get Locke up to 90% defense break. We only have 1 crown so far, so until the day you can actually give Locke his 90% defense break, yeah, I guess Lara Croft is the way better choice here. And yeah, also 135 Fire in Peril. It's such a stacked ability, it's so good, it's, I don't know, best ability in the game. Probably one of the best abilities, or maybe even the best ability in the game. Another thing I'd like to point out on her passive side of things is the archaeological knowledge. This is, it says it only applies when the TMR and STMR are equipped. However, this also works if you equip her vision card. Her vision card also unlocks her Trustmaster passive. And you're probably looking at it right now and think, wow, is that correct? And yes, it is a 300 flat LB passive. No LB materia needed. That is so cool. Also, she has a lot of innate killers, beasts, avians, humans, machinas, 100%. And from the Reliquarian, she also gains another 100% to beasts and humans, which is very cool. So whenever you're fighting beasts or humans, she's super good because she's very slot efficient. And her 300% equipment attack baseline, that is also nice to have. It's all in all super, super good, and you do want to have her on your team, in fire teams especially. The limit burst. Now, people, I've seen a lot of comments that dismiss this limit burst for being bad because it is only 250x, but it's a lot better than you think it is. And the reason for that is a variance of the guns, because guns have 1.5 variance on average. Then if you bring her in a fire team, you have to keep in mind there is a 85% fire amplification, her own 60% and 25% from Louise's field. And you have to keep in mind that this LB also increases her LB damage by 300%, something that Skye, for example, cannot do. Skye needs someone from the outside to do her LB buff. That is most of the cases Zidane's STMR, or in short, it's going to be Roka, who can also buff 300% LB buff. But Lara being this self-sufficient with her LB buff, that is good. That is very, very good. Now, you also need to keep in mind, we are looking at a gun build, and guns have 35% weapon imperil, and it's also a 135 fire imperil. So with all of this combined, you will see that Lara reaches crazy numbers in Dark Visions, even at 250x LB mode. If they made her 300x LB mode, she'd be our absolute number one. Sephiroth wouldn't even budge, wouldn't even scratch her or get close to her. That is the levels of crazy we're talking about here. Just want to put this out right away. But enough talk about this, we'll get to that in a few minutes. The Trustmaster and Super Trustmaster, I'm gonna say this, I feel both are kind of the Trustmaster is a 50% attack, no conditions attached, and a 50% true double hand and or true dual wield, which is good. It's a TMR equivalent of Guardian of Light Riku, which is okay. It is still a pretty good materia, notwithstanding. The STMR, it's a gun. It's a two-handed gun at 1.3 to 1.7x variance, so on average it's 1.5, and it has 195 attack on it. But that's about it. So while it is the highest attack weapon or gun in the game, it's still super disappointing that it doesn't really have anything else attached to it. I personally would have liked, for example, let's say limit burst passive. I know she has 300% LB on her for herself, but if we had another unit that would like to use this, it could be a Black Sparky equivalent, and that'd be cool. But it's not. It also does not have any killers. So the gun, I don't see any use of it outside of Lara Croft, to be honest. Because Lara is super self-sufficient and she doesn't need killers outside her innate ones, so it's good for her but bad for pretty much everyone else, is what I would say right now. The vision card, on the other hand, that one is super good. It has premium status of a premium unit equivalent stats, 125 base attack at level 10, but it's not a premium unit. So if you're going for EX plus 3 Lara, you're gonna have two of those, and two additional 125 attack vision cards. That's sweet. Now the passives, they are great as well. Like 50% unconditional attack is cool, and what I personally like is the ribbon at level 7. So 100% to all status resists. That does not include charm, and stop, for example, but it's all the other ones. It's a ribbon effect with an additional 5 LB crystals per turn. It is so slot efficient, it's great. And Lara only, the game says Tomb Raider only, but that might be misleading because one could think that this also applies to the 7-star Lara that we have. It does not. Even if you are able to give Lara the old 7-star Lara, that is, vision cards later down the line, this static 500 static attack won't apply to her. It's only this Lara only that we're looking at right now. But still, all things considered, this is a plain amazing card, easier to reach 125 attack vision card than compared to Sephiroth and Tifa, who really need EX plus 3 to give you the 125 attack cards. Amazing. There is nothing else to say about this. Superb card. And now let's talk about the damage calculations. So if you've watched previous videos of mine, reviews of mine, this should look very familiar. There is no change. The only thing that I want to point out is that Lara uses her own 60% amp, because I did write 30% dark and fire amp over here. That is the general amplification that we have so far. But I wanted to point out that Lara uses her 60% amp again, just so people don't get confused. Alright, so this is the build Lara is using. Now, one of the issues of using this build right now is that we don't have item world up. So if you're exactly replicating this build right now, you will not reach 400 attack passives, because you are going to be short, I believe, 40%, but that is the rare on the gun. So once item world opens, once you can get the 40% attack rare and some more attack passives, this is going to work out easily. Now, again, I do want to point out, none of these units that you're going to see, or unit builds, none of them are built towards the best case. I am always using a worst case scenario, and in Lara's case, she has 0% innate demon killer, and I built her for demons. Now, if I were to give everyone the best case scenario, well, you would see me use Dream of the Faith, GF extension, thus inflating numbers, and I'm not a huge fan of inflating numbers. So that is why I am using worst case scenarios for boss types, in this case, demon. But still, Lara does a significant amount of damage, and you will see how much. And if you're pairing her against, say, a beast, you don't need Barrett's Gloves, because against the beast boss, you can use just one Super Trust Master. It'd be Valued Memories, you'd immediately be at 300, you'd have one slot open for more either attack or GF extension. It's so much easier to do using our own vision card, and this is with Diablos equipped, of course. Kurosama from a few weeks ago, nothing too surprising, nothing changed, same didn't change over here. If this is too fast, just pause the video for a second. It's old builds that I've talked about a lot of times already. Alright, and this is the chart. And as you can see, Lara Croft as an LB finisher in a Dark Visions environment is on at slot number 2. She's above Avalanche Tifa, which may be surprising to some of you, or most of you, but this is the beauty of 6x cap and true double handing with, again, weapon imperils, especially 35% weapon imperils. They make such a huge difference compared to 20 or 25% ones. So yeah, Lara is 91.5% of Sephiroth's maximum damage, that is the max variance you can reach, and 96.33 of his average damage, which is crazy levels of good, especially when you consider that she has only 250x LB modification before weapon variants. And again, I do want to stress the reasons for this, why she is so close to Sephiroth, and those are 60% fire amp, the 20% fire field from Louise, which is also counted here for. Sephiroth there is no dark field as of yet. Once we do get a dark field, Sephiroth will jump ahead in damage significantly. But there is currently none, and that is why Lara is so close. Now, another reason is guns have better weapon variants than two-handed katanas, and guns have the higher weapon imperil than katanas. It's 35 versus 25. And you also have to keep in mind that we are using a 135 fire imperil compared to the 125 that Sephiroth has. So those are all reasons why Lara closes the gap to Sephiroth, even though her LB mod is so much lower than his. And that's also the reason why Lara Croft is so much better than Avalanche Tifa, because I calculated Avalanche Tifa as a true dual wield unit here, but then again, she is using the Calls field, for example. So it all averages out, but still, Lara Croft is superbly good, even outside Clash of Wills, and I feel like people should not dismiss her LB mod as, oh, it's only 250. It is so much stronger than it looks like when you consider all the variables. And one thing I didn't point out yet is that she is flexible element. None of her skills are tied to elements. So in Dark Vision, in Clash of Wills, for example, you could use Bulwark, imbue her with wind, and she'd be probably dealing about the same damage as she is with fire. And that is the beauty of Lara Croft. She's such a versatile unit, even in Dark Visions, not only in Clash of Wills. And I believe that is also why I pulled for her in the end, because I realized, okay, this unit, she's actually worth it. So yeah, how does she fare in the meta? Oh, I have a typo in here. It should be she, not he. I copied this from Kurasami, so excuse me for that. In Clash of Wills, insanely high damage output from her 3500X morale mods. Perfect chaining partner for Elena. Everyone's still using Elena, and her triple bolting strike, or single bolting strike but has triple bolting strike frames ability. Perfect chaining partner. Elemental flexibility will most likely secure a spot in your teams regardless. The 90% defense break makes her a super valuable addition to your team, especially when paired with the crazy damage that she can deal. In Dark Visions, she puts Venera to rest forever. Venera, after she did her 90% break, she was a dead slot. Lara, on the other hand, she can do so much more than Venera, and Locke for that matter, which is why she should have a good position in Dark Visions. She's a super strong LB finisher on a fire team, but also any other elemental team with good amps. So water teams will work perfectly, light teams will work very well. Thunder, now with Sakura out, it's going to work very well. Once Roka releases, she also does the earth stuff, which will also mean she's gonna be very cool paired with Lara Croft. So as you can see, there's plenty of uses. Also Celes ice amplification, same deal. So she's a super highly versatile unit that you should not sleep on. So yeah, should you pull? I mean, if you missed Venera and hated me especially, and other YouTubers for using Venera on some clears for the 90% break, here's your chance to make up for it. Because believe it or not, 90% defense breaks, they matter, especially if the passive defense of enemies is rather low, which is something that Dark Visions will do very soon. 90% defense breaks makes all the difference. It probably won't do much of a difference in Clash of Wills because the passive defense is very high, but it's still a difference nonetheless. Her damage is amazing, like you've seen, and she does pair well with Sky, because Sky only has 87 breaks, Lara has 90% breaks, and they don't take away each spot, because Lara in Clash of Wills is a chainer, while Sky is an LB finisher. So they don't take away gear from each other, which I like personally. It's very good to have both, obviously. And Louise is the perfect complement to Lara, obviously, especially in fire teams. And again, I do want to point out 200% killers for Xorn to steal in Dark Visions, but again, we're not using him. And one thing I do want to point out is that she only performs at her absolute best at EX plus 3, and that is due to the 500 static attack tag she unlocks. If you only have her at EX plus 2, her damage drops significantly. I haven't mathed it out, but losing 500 static attack is a huge deal. So yeah, in short, if you do care about Clash of Wills and or Dark Visions, you should pull. If you're just a collector or don't really care about the unit, don't really care about ranking events such as Dark Visions or Clash, yeah, you can skip and wait for your favorite collaboration or unit to get released. And that's the end of this video. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, we'll see each other at the very latest on Tuesday for some EX plus 3 Lara Croft videos. See you then, bye bye.